Hey Matt, it was good to coach you on Sunday. So as promised, I want to go ahead here and do a debrief of your 4 lifts that we worked on, and this will give you a chance to see what your best set was, see what it looked like, and gives us a chance to review the kind of the big things that we worked to improve, and also for me to point out a couple things that I think you can continue to work on from here. So let's take a look at your squat here first. So the biggest thing by far that we worked on with your squat was just keeping your back tight and extended. And I think you nailed it pretty well by this set, and you did a pretty good job keeping both your upper and lower back flat. So let's go ahead and watch this. So see, you get a nice tight upper back here, nice tight lower back as you stand it up out of the rack. You set your stance, and I know this was an easy thing that we fixed at the beginning, but we took your eye gaze and you're now looking down. You seem to have no problem doing that the whole time. So keep looking down when you squat. It definitely works better to drive your hips that way. So let's go ahead and watch this set. So you do a pretty damn good job keeping your back tight here. We can see even at the bottom, your upper and lower back are still nice one straight line. You hit good depth, and you drive your hips out of the hole. All the big things that we're looking for at the bottom of the squat are there. You're driving your knees out well. And we'll let you finish the set here. And even on the last rep, you do pretty damn well keeping your back extended. So I think we got the back pretty sorted out. If you keep cueing yourself to keep a proud chest and to keep your butt stuck out hard at the bottom, like I showed you with tightening up your lower back, I think you're pretty golden there. The things that I think the biggest things that I would like to see you improve going forward with your squat. First is just making sure that and this is not something that we got a chance to talk about because there were more important things at the time. But now that we're going over the video, I think we can discuss it. Is at the top of your squat, you want to start standing nice and tall, not already bent over. So see how you start this first rep. You're actually a little bent over before you go down. I want every rep you to be standing nice and tall. So even here, stand all the way up between reps. See right there, before you actually unlock your knees, you start bending forward. So this rep you did much better with. So all I would tell you there is to cue yourself to stand nice and tall in between reps and initiate the squat by unlocking both your hips and knees at the exact same time. Other than that, a kind of smaller form error that we already kind of talked about was just your wrist position. It was something that we mostly let slide, although I cued you to fix it a couple of times. But we would like to get your wrists in a more neutral position. We talked about you can absolutely look into getting wrist wraps. I think that would help. But videoing yourself will also help. You just have to be a little more aware of keeping a nice straight neutral wrist to avoid future wrist problem squatting as the weight gets heavier. So other than that, I think you did a pretty nice job squatting. Those were two pretty small things. The overall mechanics of your squat were looking pretty good there towards the end. So let's move on and look at your press. see here. All right, so your press, I'm pretty damn proud of how you stuck with the teaching progression, and you eventually it clicked for you, and you really felt the timing pretty well towards the end. Excuse me. So let's take a look and watch these presses here. So the big things that we're looking for in your setup here are neutral wrist, which you have, the tip of your elbow just in front of the bar, and the bar floating about an inch and a half above your collarbone. And you remember to make this bar float like this because this is very important to be able to feel the correct timing. Because the timing, remember, is going to be dip press. You're going to punch your hips forward, the bar dips down, and then you're going to press it back out of the dip. So we'll watch you do this here. And that was a good press. And you come right back down to the exact same start position, and that's correct. Just like that. So was definitely your best set of presses at 75 pounds here. I have to cue you to re-straighten your wrists and elbows up a little bit there. But every rep, you had really solid timing where you punched your hips, the bar dipped down, and you pressed it right out of the dip. So notice that. Yep, dip, press. So the only other thing that I had to really kind of yell at you about as we were going through it was to make sure that you keep your eyes locked straight ahead on the wall, because you have a tendency, and a lot of people do this because we yell at you so much with your squat and deadlift usually, to keep it downward looking eye gaze. The press is really the only lift that we're going to look directly straight ahead while we do it. So make sure you keep your eyes directly forward on the wall. And the other thing that I cued you on with your press that you just need to make sure you're really strict about going forward is keeping your quads tight and keeping your knees completely locked in position as you punch your hips forward. Because remember, we initiate the press with our hips, and there is no knee movement. So, and I think you did a pretty good job in this set with that. So the knees stay locked back while the hips punch forward. So see, the knee is, it's kind of hard to see honestly with your sweatpants here, but we can kind of infer from the angle of your leg that your knee is indeed straight here. And what you're doing is you're just cueing yourself to clench your quads really tight to make that happen. Because otherwise we would see your knee kick forward a lot more. Because really all we want here is the movement of the hips to initiate this. And we'll let you finish out this set, just so you can see one more time what a good set of correct presses look like. Just like that. And you did a really nice job putting those together by the end. Again, I know that it was a struggle at first, but you really picked it up well. All right. So moving on to your deadlift. So your deadlift, remember we went through the 5-step setup to reproduce a consistent starting position every time. And remember, those 5 steps are stance, grip, shins to the bar, squeeze your chest up, and pull. And every time you set up for a new set of deadlifts, you are doing all 5 steps. Every single, You're doing all 5 steps to set up for the first rep of the set to get you in a perfect pulling position. So let's go ahead and watch you do these here. So, and this is, I think, the only rep that you made this mistake on, but when you brought your shins to the bar, this is where we want our hips to freeze in position. And on your first rep, you can see you dropped your hips and rolled the bar slightly forward. But we cued you on that here, and I believe you fixed it for the remainder of the reps. So you're not moving the bar forward, you're leaving your hips in place, you're squeezing your back and then pulling. And that was a good correction you made on the second rep. So you just have to cue yourself every time you bring your shins to the bar, you're going to freeze the hips high and then squeeze the chest up to the hips. Because otherwise what you do is you end up rolling the bar forward and farther away from you. So that was good. And here, just like the squat, you are cueing yourself, nice proud chest, to squeeze your chest up. And to remember, squeeze the bar slow off the floor. And we're not trying to rip the bar off the floor with any sort of crazy speed. So in the last one. And your back could have been a little more locked in on that last rep, but you were getting a little fatigued towards the end of the set. So you can just see there's a slightly more pronounced curvature in your back than there was in the rep before that. But yeah, if you cue yourself to keep finishing the squeeze, to squeeze all the way back down to your tailbone, and to hold your hips up in between reps, that'll keep your deadlifts where they need to be. And those were really your biggest mistakes. Were wanting to sink your hips just a little bit and not finish out the squeeze. All right, and lastly, we have the bench press here. So the biggest thing we adjusted right away with your bench press was the grip width. Like you said, you had that old power lifter tell you to take a crazy wide grip for your bench press for your shoulder health for some reason, which was kind of silly. So we brought your grip rather in to, I think we took your about a thumb's width out from the center smooth of the bar, and that put your forearms in a pretty nice vertical position. So we will play these from the beginning here. So, and you were pretty consistent with these. There were no big issues. Mechanically speaking here, you between reps, you just have to cue yourself to pinch your shoulder blades together, push your chest out, and to keep that leg drive driving back along the bench to support your arch. So good. And this is the proper bottom position here. And you can see we've identified this proper bottom position because your forearm is completely perpendicular to the floor. It's not angled out. It's not angled in. And we'll let you finish out the last rep here. Good. And that was a pretty damn perfect set of bench presses there. So that that kind of concludes our debrief of the lifts. I think you did real well with everything, and you worked hard to fix some big issues with a couple of them. And if you have any questions at all about anything I went over in the video, shoot me an email back, and I'd be happy to go back and forth with you about it. Otherwise, good luck lifting tomorrow. I guess you lift on Thursday, so well, have a great rest of your week, Matt.